Gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. We may now be seated. Good morning and welcome to the National Information and Communications Technology Month Kick-Off Ceremony and e-Gov PH Super App launch. To begin our program, may we call on DICT Secretary Ivan John Uy to give his opening message and present the state of the nation's ICT.
Your Excellency, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., ladies and gentlemen, good morning. 15 years ago, the National ICT Month started after digital advocates sounded their collective voices to raise ICT as an important national agenda and to call for a dedicated agency to focus on national digital transformation. Today, we have come full circle. Now, we have the DICT, the Department of Information and Communications Technology. Our voices were heard 7 years ago, and with no less than His Excellency supporting that legislation. Today, our President stands as our Chief Digital Transformation Champion. And I'm proud to join our President as his DICT Secretary. I'm equally proud of the men and women across the nation who compose the department today. Our theme for the NICT month of 2023 is connecting communities, enriching lives, and forging a digital future for the Philippines. Shows the indispensable role of ICT in our society. ICT has created meaningful and relevant pathways for our countrymen to acquire decent jobs, to gain global knowledge, to enjoy the benefits of a connected world, to build innovative enterprises, and create resilient ecosystems. ICT has also enabled the provision of citizen-centric government services. This is why we will launch the e-Gov Super App today, a one-stop single sign-on platform for various government transactions. Undersecretary Dave will delve deeper into the app's features and functionalities later. This June, we will underscore the importance of digital innovation and inclusion, digital governance, digital workforce competitiveness, and digital infrastructure, as well as cybersecurity in promoting our digital transformation. We invite our public and private partners in every region to celebrate the NICT month to promote the development and growth of the country's digital economy. As a testament to DICT's commitment to enable inclusivity and bridge the digital divide, our closing celebration will be held on June 30 in the remote island of Sakol in Zamboanga, recognized by the International Telecommunications Union as a smart village. With the Philippines' digital future in mind, this month shall serve as a reminder of the importance of ICT in encouraging innovation, collaboration, impact, and inclusivity, and in promoting a digital transformation that prioritizes clear outcomes and public value. Together, let us strengthen collaboration across sectors and build a more efficient and effective digital ecosystem to drive progress, inspire innovation, and improve the lives of our fellow Filipinos. Thank you very much and mabuhay.
Thank you, Secretary Uy. Ladies and gentlemen, Please focus your attention on screen for the presentation of programs and activities to be done during the National ICT Month 2023. At this juncture, may we invite the President to lead the ceremonial activation of the e-Gov PH Super App. May we also call on DICT Secretary Ivan John Uy and Undersecretary for E-Government David Almirol Jr. to assist the President. We shall now launch the e-Gov Super App at the count of 3. In 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, please focus again your attention on screen for the presentation of features of the e-Gov PH Super App.
The Philippines in one single app. Conveniently access government service online. Avoid long lines, face-to-face, and paper-based transactions. Present your identity cards by just using your mobile phones. Introducing the e-Gov PH Super App. It is the Philippines' first one-stop shop platform for local and national government services that will streamline processes and transactions and bring a total ease of doing business to all Filipinos. The e-Gov Super App is a one-stop platform that can aggregate all national and local government services in a single operating system. E-government priority projects can also be integrated, like job creation, travel, investments, agriculture, and e-commerce. E-government services from both national and local governments can also be featured. The DICT signed Memoranda of Understanding with 26 government agencies, including DILG, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, GSIS, SSS, DOT, DTI, DSWD, and DOTR. Empowering the tourism sector through the Department of Tourism initiatives. The fast and secure digital process for identity verification without the required physical documents or face-to-face interaction. The verification process is powered by e-Gov AI with electronic Know Your Customer or eKYC capability. This ensures real-time user application, avoids fraudulent accounts, achieves a seamless and efficient onboarding process, and improves customer satisfaction and retention. Using the e-Gov eKYC, a national digital ID can be generated via the Philippine Statistics Authority PhilSys integration. A unique and tokenized QR code shall be generated, which users can present, and agencies, businesses, and establishments can easily scan and verify their identity. A one-stop shop app feature that allows you to access all national government services, powered by single sign-on. It essentially provides Filipinos with access to an online one-stop shop that offers a variety of LGU services such as applying for clearances, certifications, and permits. In partnership with DOLE, CHED, TESDA, and other agencies, citizens can now build their simple resume to be accessed by local and foreign job providers. In partnership with the DOT and DILG, information on all tourism spots can be aggregated in a single platform. The DICT is working closely with the DFA, DOT, and the Bureau of Immigration to implement the Philippine e-Visa portal for easier entry of tourists into the country. In partnership with the Bureau of Quarantine, Bureau of Immigration, Bureau of Customs, Department of Health, Department of Tourism, and Department of Transportation, multiple outbound and inbound travel declarations and health forms are unified under the Philippine One-Stop Electronic Travel Declaration System. You can now locate your nearest malasakit centers, healthcare facilities, and hospitals. Your feedback plays a crucial role in enhancing governance and fulfilling the government's mandate. You can now register your SIM card in the e-Gov PH Super App. It inspires, creates awareness, and promotes startups and technopreneurs to the community, the youth, and potential startup founders. Be updated on the current events and developments in the nation with the government app news through the Presidential Communications Office. You can now have your digital PhilSys ID and securely and confidently store your government-issued IDs inside the app. In partnership with the LTO, Filipinos may now have a copy of their digital driver's licenses, accessed and securely stored under the Digital Government ID Wallet. What are you waiting for? Download e-Gov PH now, available in Play Store and in App Store.
At this point, may we again invite DICT Secretary Ivan John Uy to introduce our guest of honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr.
Thank you, Sec Ivan Uy. Please have your seats. For your introduction, our Finance Secretary, Ben Jokno, other Jimmy Bautista, DOTR, and all the other officials who have come to join us here today, my fellow workers in government. Tayo, mga fellow workers in government, mukhang mapapagaang ang trabaho natin kapag talagang nabuo na natin ito. And that is the call of the day, is that we will have to adopt all of these new technologies to be able to compete properly in the global stage. And of course, our all-important partners in the private sector, without whom these new steps that we have taken could not have been possible. All the distinguished guests here, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. In my first address to the nation last year, I emphasized that we are in the midst of an age of exponential adoption of technology. Our government must keep up with that frantic pace, and it is frantic, and facilitate the rapid development of our interconnectivity infrastructure to allow our economy to ride the wave and open up an ocean of opportunities for prosperity. Government as well must be able to identify and utilize high-impact innovations to improve its own governance and transform itself into an agile bureaucracy that is responsive to our people's needs. As we commemorate National ICT Month, it's proper that we recapitulate what government has collectively accomplished over the years to develop and strengthen our country's overall ICT infrastructure. As early as 2 decades ago, the policy on e-commerce has been laid down. Electronic documents and transactions have been mainstream and given legal recognition. Unfortunately, the technology was not able to keep up. This is one of those very rare cases na nauna ang legislation doon sa teknolohiya. And so this is what we are trying to do now. We are trying to make maximum use of the technologies that are available to us. We are talking about the ease of doing business, the ease of doing, of interacting with the government. It is not, at the very beginning, when we first came into office, I explained over and over again and made it very clear to all that would listen that this is not something that is an option that we might want to examine. This is something we need to do. We have no option of not doing this. It is something that is required. If we look now on the experience, when we look at our competitors, and that is essentially what this is about, it is a competition in the global market on many, many dimensions. And if we are to look at our neighboring countries, for example, to Europe, to the United States, then we can see that you cannot compete on an even basis unless you are highly digitalized, both in the private sector, and as well in the public sector. And that includes all the attendant issues of cybersecurity, the attendant issues of having a cloud that belongs to the country, the issues of that we are beginning to resolve on the single ID for all citizens of the Philippines. And all of these must come together in a way that is useful and easy and convenient for the ordinary Filipino citizen. Now, I always worry about how Filipinos will kaya ba nilang gamitin ito? Is it simple enough? And we had that meeting yesterday, and I said, I always worry about the capacity of the Filipino to take on these new technologies. And thus far, I've always been wrong. There has never been a problem for Filipinos to take up these new technologies. They pick it up, well, more quickly than, well, we are a young country, and young people do simply have a affinity for the new tech, because it's something that they can live with, that they have lived with. They cannot imagine a world without Wi-Fi. I mean, yung mga anak ko, nung maliit pa, pag may babiyahe kami, ang unang time, we're going to visit this island in Visayas. May Wi-Fi ba? May Wi-Fi ba? And you cannot blame them. That's the world we live in today. And that's why this is essential to all the plans. This is going to be another building block in the foundation of our transforming the economy. And this e-governance, the whole idea of e-governance, is something that we need to do because we have fallen behind. And when we started, before we started this, and I've quoted this statistic many times, that we did a survey of how people use the internet in the Philippines. And the result was quite enlightening in that they say 95% of their daily activities, the shopping, the paying, the bank, and even the payments to government, all 95% are done online. So ano yung 5%? Government. We cannot do it online with government. We have to go to the office. We have to collect the birth certificate, the documentation, the clearance, and then we go to the government, to the government office, and they say, you're missing one document. Balik na naman, and they do all of these things. So that just won't work. And as we can see, many of the problems that we are encountering are simply because of the problems that are being faced by both in the public sector, by ordinary citizens in their dealings with government. It's the ease of doing the work. It's the ease. Now, we hope with the beginnings of the e-governance system that a senior living in a isolated place, an isolated island somewhere, by which time we will have had connectivity can just go onto their phone. And if they don't know how to do it, they call the child or yung apo nila. O sige, kayong gumawa. And do all their business on the internet and be able to have payments. The central bank actually was leading the pack here, in that the central bank has also been very, very aggressive in trying to make as many of these payments, both to government and from government, in the digital space. And that, I think, has been very, very successful. And you can see, we were in GSIS the other day, and only 4% now, if I remember correctly, 4.7% of their transactions are done over the counter. Everything else is over the internet. And so this is what we are pushing for. This is what e-governance is about, to bring it all together and to make it simple and available, accessible. Some of this data that we have has been siloed in different departments, in different agencies, and there's no way for us to go from one place, one website, and say, I am interested in a job in engineering. Is there anything out there? Now we have that. I am trying to buy land in this area. What does the titling look like? Has it been surveyed? Now we couldn't do that. Now we can do that. So these are the capabilities that this e-governance program brings. And that is why it is extremely important that now that we have launched the e-governance app, which, by the way, you have to show me how to download it immediately as soon as, para testingin natin. Once again, that brings us again to the issue of our IDs. And so the IDs are really going to be the central focal point for the dissemination of information, the dissemination of services, etc. So that's what we are working on, and I think we're making a good deal of progress. We are finding those operations, those groups who are able to print them out now. Right now, it's a little unsatisfactory because what we call an ID is essentially a picture of an ID. There is no data that backs it up. I think the simplest example, which I think most of you will have been familiar with, either first-hand or second-hand, is the Social Security number in the United States. You give your Social Security number, they have all your data. You don't have to explain. You don't even have to bring the documentation. All they have to do is to verify that you are indeed who you say you are. And once your identity has been confirmed, then you can do the business that you need to do with government. So this is what we are aiming for. But this is an extremely important step in heading down that road of digitalizing our bureaucracy, our government functions. And this will extend not only to the national government, this will extend to even the local government. The local government actually local governments have, many of them have already taken the initiative and have started to digitalize themselves. Now what we have to do is to consolidate all of those systems in place, allow them to communicate with each other in a way that is useful for the consumer, for the citizen, in terms of, again, the business that has to be conducted with government. So I'm very, very happy that we are going in this direction. There is another part of this that is extremely important that we sometimes do not talk about, and that is the lessening of corruption. Because when you do not have to talk to a person at all, for the entire process, wala kang kausap na tao, there's no discretion that's being exercised at any point. It's either yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, 1, 2. It's binary, 1, 0, 1, 0. It's binary. So that way, it simplifies the process, especially for the citizen. And there is no discretion being exercised by anyone. Eh, kung di mo ako lagyan, hindi ko ipapaano ito. Hindi ko iipiting ko ito. Yung mga ganun. O kausapin mo yung si ganto ganyan, siya mag-aayos, yung fixer niya. Wala na yan, mawawala na yan. And we owe that to the people. We owe them to be able to do that. We should not allow them to continue to suffer to this antiquated, corrupt, and inefficient system. Mabuti naman, if it works, it doesn't work. It just gets worse and worse and worse. So we are looking forward to these e-governance platforms that we are starting to put up. The issuance now of the national ID, which will be a proper ID in the sense that it contains data that is critical or that is important or that's necessary for the conduct of business with government. And so this is a very good step, and we will continue to push this, and we will need the partnership not only of our government agencies, but also of the private sector, because the private sector also has concerns in this regard, especially when it comes to cybersecurity. So these are the elements that we have to be looking at, and that we are looking at. So I congratulate the ICT for now having the first e-governance app, and we will continue to make it more extensive, make it more sophisticated, and eventually put us at an even keel, at the very least at an even keel, or hopefully at an advantage as we compete in the global market for the supply of goods, for the supply of services, for the supply of labor, for opening up new markets. All of these elements, which we have to make more robust if we are going to do well in the next decade or two. Thank you very much, and good morning.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this point, may we request the President to grant us a photo opportunity. To start with, may we call on the Cabinet Secretaries and government officials. Thank you. Next, may we call on the heads of various government agencies. Thank you. Next, may we call on the industry partners. Thank you. And lastly, may we call on DICT officials, staff, and the representatives from attached agencies. Thank you, Mr. President, for granting us a photo opportunity. That concludes our program for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in celebrating the National ICT Month 2023. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.,